I want to know how you prepare for a golf tournament.
Well, I hit balls maybe 20 minutes, putt a little bit, smoke 4 or 5 cigarettes, drink 3 Diet Cokes, and go to the first tee. Some days I won't even go to the range.
Thank you, Mr. John Daly. Appreciate you, sir. You are a scholar and a gentleman. Mr. Daly brings us into episode 181. It is the Daily Puck Drop. My name is Jason Puckett, if you didn't know that. Thank you for watching on YouTube, also listening on Apple and Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. Drink. Got to drink every time I say that. We appreciate all the support here as we get you underway here on episode 181 here on Wednesday, June 26th. As you're probably watching this or listening to this at what time of day, the Mariners game is probably already over. It's starting at 9 o'clock this morning. So we will have the Human Pony Cake, Ryan Divish, after the show. So we'll do it sometime, I don't know, whenever he wraps up there with his post-game responsibilities, and then we'll get it out to you as soon as possible because there's a lot to cover with Divish today in regards to the Mariners because, my God, they are, as we record this, depending what's happening right now in the game or what happened today in the game, it is an absolute free fall right now for the M's. They are leaking. How many cliches can we come up with? They're leaking oil. They're taking on water. They're climbing uphill, whatever it is. Their division lead has been slashed by 5.5 games, right, in a week? Yeah, that's right. Because it's 4.5 now. Their lead on Houston, only 4.5 games, where about a week ago it was up at 10. Is my math correct? Yeah, right? Okay. They're trying to avoid a sweep for the first time this season. It was a close game until they went to the bullpen and then ended up being the final score there yesterday, and 11-3 there for the Mariners, who, again, just can't get things turned around right now. Just not playing good baseball, obviously on this road trip. And it's just a combination of a bunch of different things. It's pitching, it's hitting, it's all of it. It's their pitching staff continuing to struggle on the road, and it doesn't matter which one it is, other than really Logan Gilbert. But Luis Castillo on the road this year, a 4.59 ERA compared to a 2.96 ERA at home. In those 9 games on the road, he's walked 21 hitters. And I wanted to do kind of a deeper dive there with Castillo and to see, is it truly, a road problem, or is it, the opponents that he has faced on the road? And I think it's a little bit of a combination, right? I mean, he hasn't been good on the road. His last 2 starts, yesterday against Tampa Bay and then the previous one against Cleveland, which Cleveland is one of the best teams in baseball and one of the best offenses in baseball. His ERA has ballooned to 7.84 on the road. The previous 2 starts before these last 2 against Tampa Bay and Cleveland, against Baltimore and the Yankees, it was better. It wasn't great from an ERA standpoint. It looked okay. I mean, it looked more than okay. It was a 3.27 ERA. But if you dive a little bit deeper into those 2 starts against the Orioles and the Yankees, I mean, his OPS was 888. They were slugging 500 against him. And remember, he was pulled from that Yankee start. He only went 5 innings. So it just hasn't been good for Castillo. But he's just not the only one. We mentioned, really, other than Gilbert, all of them have struggled on the road. I mean, it's easier to pitch at T-Mobile. That's why hitters don't go there. It's why free agent hitters say no thanks. It is a pitcher-friendly park, and they just are having a rough time on the road against better opponents, but really having the same success at home as that they're having on the road. The news yesterday was that, and not unexpected, that Brian Wu is going to go on the 15-day injury list with a hamstring strain, in which he exited his last start. Obviously frustrated yesterday when he met with the media. Ryan Divish was there. And again, he'll join us a little bit later today in the pregame scrum here with Brian Wu, who, again, he's a little light here, you can't hear him too well, but you can hear the frustration and the disappointment in his voice answering this question from Ryan Divish today or yesterday. Oh, how about that? That's not Brian Wu. That was, I had the wrong soundboard up. See, this is the best thing. I'm a village idiot when it comes to some of this stuff. Here is, I promise, I think, Brian Wu yesterday with Divish.
Brian, your reaction last night, that's probably as upset we've ever seen you. Is it just like the frustration of what you've been through all season and to have something like this happen? I mean, like we hadn't seen that before out of you. I mean, can you describe like what you were feeling, like how frustrated you were at that moment?
Yeah, I mean, you said it, frustrated, disappointed. Obviously been a tough, season, I guess, so far, just dealing with injuries and, finally feel like I got a night that I'm feeling good and ball's coming out well. Stuff feels like it's getting back to where I, feel like it could be, and then, so it just sucks.
Little hard to hear him there. I know he's kind of a soft-spoken guy, but if you watch the video that Divish posted there up on Twitter or X, and you can just see how dejected he is. I mean, all these guys. We talked yesterday about is he venturing into the CJ Pro Size fan club, and I mean, again, no one wants to get the label as injury prone, but he has just dealt with a lot of these injuries since he's come up in baseball. I mean, this was the injuries that again out of his control, arm issues. A lot of pitchers have Tommy John, but what he faced in Cal Poly, what he has gone through here with his forearm and the elbow, so far in his major league, career, and now dealing with a hamstring issue, and and I think he'll do a deep dive after the season to kind of look at what he could do better from a conditioning standpoint. We brought this up yesterday with Brad Adam on the program. I mean, no one looks in better shape and better like physical appearance on this team than Brian Wu. It's not like Brian Wu doesn't put in the work. I've seen him up close and personal a couple of times. I mean, the man is he's a physical specimen. So there is work being put into the offseason. Maybe does he have to adjust a little bit of what he's doing or change whatever his workout regime is, or maybe it's just a fluke thing, but obviously frustrating for him. It's, I guess the good news about all of it is that it wasn't anything to do with the forearm or the elbow, but hamstring injuries, I mean, they linger. And now the MRI came back and they say they'll be okay. Now what they can do, because they have some off days and they can move some guys around, and maybe Hancock comes up or the Jonathan Diaz guy comes up there from Tacoma, because the news either was before Wu or after Wu. I think it was before Wu. Dallas Keuchel, who was down in Tacoma, and I think a lot of people did not know that they had Dallas Keuchel in Tacoma. I remember a few weeks ago looking at some of their stats and then at that point remembering that Dallas Keuchel was with Tacoma. But anyways, I'm sure there were some fans that were like, wait, we have Dallas Keuchel on the team? Yeah, he was down there. They traded him to Milwaukee, and then right away when you saw what they traded him for was cash considerations. I mean, the reaction from the fan base, and I get it, was probably all the same. Really? Saving more money, cash considerations. We need a starter. We've got a starter banged up. We need starter depth. Why would we trade the one guy that we have down in Tacoma that can provide us some depth? And I'll admit, that was my first reaction. Like, well, he's here. You signed him for a reason. Why not give him an opportunity? Why was he here in the first place? But in talking with Divish yesterday, he laid it out, and I think it makes now perfect sense. You had to put him on the 40-man roster. Then he would be out of options. You couldn't move him up and down. You can juggle Emerson Hancock, and then you can juggle Jonathan Diaz. So I understand where they were coming from. And then they probably, as Divish was telling me, they probably did him a solid. Listen, you're not in our plans. And so we're going to give you an opportunity someplace else. And that opportunity there is with Milwaukee. So if they do go with skipping some guys and lining up their rotation for that Orioles series with what Castillo, Kirby, and Gilbert, then you see Hancock or Diaz come up. A guy that I mentioned yesterday to Brad, and we'll bring it up with Divish later today when we can do and record the show, is What about Chris Flexen? Here would be a real minor, low-cost, nothing move. Low-cost insurance policy. Go out and get a guy that you are familiar with, who you took a chance on, and your staff was able to turn him around, and he had his best professional years in Major League Baseball with you. Now, he hasn't been good since he left Seattle, and even that last that last season in Seattle wasn't good before he left. But 15 starts this year with the White Sox. He's appeared in 17 games, so 2 games there out of the bullpen. He's got a 5.13 ERA. The month of June has been a little bit better. He's around 4.25. Last season, again, wasn't great for him. But in 2022 with Seattle, he was a 3.73 ERA. And again, his best seasons were with Seattle. And it's not going to cost you anything. It's low cost insurance policy for Brian Wu. And you have also, if you are contemplating having Hancock now come up, you're dealing with a guy in Emerson Hancock who left his last start with back tightness. And it gives you an option to maybe, if Wu comes back, you can spell Wu as the season goes on a little bit with someone like Flexen. And Flexen has the experience of also pitching in the bullpen, and they need bullpen help. Now, maybe not the specific guy like Chris Flexen, but they do need some more arms down there, guys that could eat some innings. They need more power arms, and it appears that maybe Gregory Santos is close to returning. But I don't know. It's just a name out there. The White Sox are selling everyone. I mean, we want the big cat, Luis Robert Jr., but I don't know. Why not take another run at Chris Flexen to bring him back? You need arms. You need a start. You're going to need another starter. And this was I think a talking point for a lot of people going into this season, that maybe they didn't have enough starters heading into the year based on some of the injury history and the innings usage of some of their young guys. So we shall see. Part of the reason they've been struggling on this road trip, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's, they didn't do enough in the offseason to acquire offensive talent. We can go over and over and over of their inability to go out and want to be aggressive with free agents. It will continue to be a theme for this organization until they change that theme. It will be a theme or a talking point for this organization, this ownership group, until they go out and actively make a huge move or an impactful move at the deadline. But this season offensively has really it's terrible to put all this pressure on one person because you love the guy. And there's no Mariners fan, I don't think, that doesn't root for 44, doesn't root for that center fielder. He's everything that you want in a superstar player. He's good. He plays hard. He's fun. He looks like he's having a good time. He's a good teammate. And he represents the organization, the city, in the way that you want a superstar to represent your city. He's not standoffish. He's not an a-hole. He doesn't, he doesn't lollygag up the first baseline. He plays hard. That's what I love about Julio, maybe more than anything, of all his great qualities that he has, is that he plays hard every single day. And I think that's rare sometimes with star players. I think sometimes star players can take plays off and days off, and he does not take a play off. But it has been an absolutely disappointing season for Julio Rodriguez at the plate. And there's just no other way to put it. And the reason this offense and the reason that this entire team has not clicked offensively from the get-go is unfortunately in large part due to him, that he has struggled so much. He struggled out of the gate, and he normally does this, and then he gets it turned around. And you thought that when we got into May and he started to have a better month, it wasn't a great month, but it was a better month, where he had 274 and he had 3 home runs and he drove in 10. Again, that's a small sample size, and it's not great, but it looked like he started to maybe find some things. And they moved him down. He's hitting third. Now Adam Jude gets his wish because he's hitting second again. But now in June, as we sit here on June 26, it's back to struggling again. 224, on base of 290, slugging 341. His OPS is 632. But there has been nothing compared to this road trip. And you want to know why they have won one game on this road trip? These are Julio's numbers so far on this road trip. This is god-awful. He's batting 107 with an on-base of 138, slugging 107 with an OPS of 245. Your superstar player, when you're scuffling, cannot be putting up these numbers. And we keep saying, well, hey, when the weather turns, eventually he'll turn it around. I mean, it's June 26th now. I mean, we are in the thick of the season. We got the trade deadline is coming up, fast approaching. We're a month away right now. For this offense and for this team to maintain this lead in the American League West, win the division, and do damage in the postseason, he has got to be better. And again, he knows that. It's not like he doesn't sit there and go, well, thanks, Puck. I didn't know that I needed to play better. Thanks for that, Tips. Of course he knows that. But whether he's putting too much pressure on himself as a 23-year-old superstar, knowing that he's carrying the mantle for the organization, I don't know. But sooner or later, it has got to turn around. And we keep waiting for it and waiting for it. And I think a lot of us feel in the back of our minds that he's going to have this run, that he's going to have this stretch, whether it's July, this stretch of a month like he did last year, where he's the best player on the planet. But it's one of those hard things that you keep hoping for it, and because he's done it in the past, you expect it to happen again, and sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes it doesn't. But he's got to get going. J.P. Crawford's been better on this road trip. You know, we talked the other day in the other Daily Puck Drop a couple of days ago about moving him off the leadoff spot. I mean, I still would do it, but this road trip has been better for him. 276 on base of 400. He's slugging 488. He's got an OPS of 848. So, again, they've kept the trust. They've kept the confidence in him to keep him at leadoff. But he's another guy, you know, along with France and Garver and everybody else in Polanco who's back now. They've all got to collectively have got to get it going now and get it turned around. But, you know, it does start with that center fielder, because I do believe how he goes, they go. And I think you can say that about any team in any sport with a superstar player. How the superstar performs, I think everybody feeds off of that. A reminder, no Divish early today because of the early game. So we're hoping to catch up with Divish later this afternoon to kind of recap, which is perfect because we'll recap, you know, today's game, but we'll recap the road trip and to see where, you know, the Mariners are at right now. The Bet M's under summer tour continues. No cover yesterday, obviously, with them scoring 14 runs. There's no over-under that's, you know, at that high. So we're 24, 27, and 2. We're betting on the under every single game this year for the Mariners because, A, they can't score, and for the most part, they hold teams to about 3 runs or 4 runs or less. George Kirby gets the ball today for Seattle this morning. The total is 7.5. 7.5 is the total today. What have I always said about coaches in any sport? Professional liars, all of them. They're all professional liars. They don't tell you the truth. Why would they ever tell you the truth? It doesn't benefit them to tell you the truth because you want to know what? They're lying. And again, here at the Puckett Crisis Firm, I would go to Texas A&M coach Jim. Is it Schlossnagel? Schlossnagel. Let's go with Schlossnagel. If it's not Schlossnagel, okay. And I would, as the Puckett Crisis Firm, I would have advised him when he got up in a press conference yesterday. I could have given him the easiest thing to say because actually this wasn't yesterday. It was Monday. This is following Texas A&M losing in the College World Series to Tennessee in Game 3. And rumors had been circulating and running rampant that he was the top candidate and was going to replace the Texas baseball coach who was fired on Monday, by the way, the day of the final game of the College World Series. So a reporter was in there. Rumors are running rampant everywhere. And this reporter did his job. by asking the coach, and it doesn't matter that it's right after they lost the national championship game, but ask this coach about the rumors of Texas.
Respect to the difficult outcome tonight, but with the rumors circulating today about a specific job opening, what do you have to say about your future in Aggieland?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty selfish of you to ask me that question, to be honest with you. But I left my family to be the coach at Texas A&M. I took the job at Texas A&M to never take another job again, and that hasn't changed in my mind. And that's unfair to talk about something like that. That'd be like you asking Montgomery if he's going to sign in the draft.
Unfair.
I understand you got to ask the question, but I gave up a big part of my life to come take this job, and I've poured every ounce of my soul in this job, and I've given this job every single ounce I can possibly give it. Write that.
And then he walked off. He walked off the stage. That was the best part. Write that. Well, less than 24 hours later, professional liar Jim Schlossnagel took the job at Texas. And not only took the job at Texas, he took every single coach with him, all of them. Texas, that on Monday, the day of the final game, Texas had fired their coach. And it had been rumored even the days leading up to Monday's game that Schlossnagel, it's going to be so funny if I'm just butchering his name, but Schlossnagel. Someone's going to correct me on here, and I can't wait. It had already been rumored that he was going to be a candidate and be a leading candidate, even before they had fired the Texas coach, which they, again, did on Monday, and then immediately everybody went to the Texas A&M coach. And then that's why he was so defiant and just got up there and lied. And then, you know, I know what people are going to say. Well, what would you have said? Well, here's what I would have said. And again, it's not hard. It just isn't hard. I mean, these schools and these athletic departments, they have PR people. But sometimes I think they need a refresher from the Puckett crisis firm. Here's what he should have said. And again, he never lies. And that's why you never get up there and, first of all, attack a reporter. It's just it is honestly the lamest thing that coaches and players do in sports is attack the media. It is so, but it's been made popular here, obviously, in the last 5, 6, 7 years. To just attack them. They're the evil, the most evilest people on the planet, if I can spit it out. You know, it's just that they're always trying to get coaches and players, you know, and to trap them. This kid, again, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen sometimes, but that was a fair question. His name's being rumored everywhere for this job. The kid asked the question. By the way, someone did this cut up on X about him. He basically just took the playbook from Roy Williams. When Roy Williams was asked after they lost, was it Kansas? Yeah, they lost the national championship game. And I think it was a Bonnie Bernstein was asking the question. And it's literally the same answer. Go find it on social media. It's the same exact answer. In fact, I will do you one step better. I'll go find it and I'll put it up at pucksports.com on the blog page, but it's verbatim. Here's what the A&M coach says. The kid asked the question. I appreciate the question. Right now I'm focused on 26. Right now I'm focusing on those 26 kids that are sitting in that locker room right now who gave everything that they could to this A&M program and gave everything to me and our coaching staff. And they're hurting right now. I'm hurting right now because I'm hurting for them because I know how much work and effort that they put into this season. It's hard to win these things. And it was a great series. And congratulations to Tennessee because they had a phenomenal season. In regards to your question, I can't stop the rampant rumors about my future. But respectfully to your question, I don't want to address this right now because this should be about those kids in that locker room who are hurt right now. And should be about the fantastic season that we had. I hope you can appreciate that. And maybe at another time we can talk about it. But right now I just want to keep my focus on A&M. Now, again, he says that it's the immediate reaction for people like me is going to be, well, he didn't shoot it down. He didn't shoot it down. He's going to Texas. Okay, fine. But he doesn't go up there and say never. I'm never going to leave. Or attack a reporter and come across as a jackass. If he handles it in that way that I just delivered it to you in about, not even thinking what I was going to say, in 30 seconds. That's how easy it is. It's so easy. That, yes, there's still going to be people within A&M that's going to be upset about it, of course, because he left. But if you handle it in some grace and some class, people will understand. Because we all of us, whatever we do for a job, there is always another job out there that, for most people, maybe not. I mean, there's probably some jobs out there like, nope, this is what I want to do. I never want to leave. But for a lot of us, there are other opportunities out there. And you shouldn't ever feel guilty about taking those opportunities. And I don't think he should feel guilty for wanting to be the head baseball coach at Texas. Not at all. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves. And I think Aggie fans would agree with this as well. I mean, the Texas Longhorn baseball job is like one of the top baseball jobs in the country, and it has been for a long time. And it's a rich, storied success of baseball, much more than A&M. But I mean, it's how you deliver the news and how you come across. And I don't know this guy at all, but I mean, it's greed. They're all professional liars. And so if you're going to come down, and people are right, you're going to come down on athletes about jumping ship and in the portal and all that, you can't then just excuse the behavior of coaches. To me, it's all of them. It's all greed. Just nothing. I mean, this is the most disheartening thing about college athletics today is just the amount of greed, selfish greed that is out there. And it's not just the players, it's the coaches, and the coaches and all these guys should be better. But they're not. They're not. None of them are better. Just say you were focused on the kids and they're all hurting. Dude, do these guys not watch like political debates? When the politician is asked a question, hey, what do you, Senator, what do you feel about climate change? Well, the one thing we're going to have to tackle here this year is our budget and our infrastructure, and how we need to spend more money. And my opponent here has not spent any money on infrastructure. In fact, has been a denier of improving our infrastructure. They'll go 4 or 5 minutes answering a question that has nothing to do with the question that was asked. And you know what happens? They go so long, and it's a filibuster. There is no follow-up. They just move on. Some of these coaches need to learn that. It's real easy. All right, moving on. New WSU athletic director, Anne McCoy, first female AD in school history. Really the worst kept secret in college athletics surrounding Washington State. I don't know Anne McCoy. She's been there since 2001. She was hired by Jim Sturck, the long time ago athletic director. He was before Bill Moose. I wish her the best. I think it's without a doubt the most difficult job in college athletics going on right now. That and Scott Barnes at Oregon State. You can't find me a more difficult job in college sports than to be the athletic director right now at Washington State. My gut tells me this wasn't a big search. My gut tells me that there probably weren't a lot of candidates out there for this because I don't know who would want this. I'm not sure. Now, I could be completely wrong, and that wouldn't be the first time. But I just don't know how many people want to step into that hornet's nest, which is guiding this athletic department with the deficit that they have into all these uncharted waters right now. They have zero idea of the future of Washington State athletics, where they're going to be in 2 years. I mean, it's just a holdover, a stopgap right now with the Mountain West and the West Coast Conference. remote area, hard to raise money for, funds, again, a deficit, no TV contract. Coaches, you can hire good coaches, but they have an ounce of success, they're out. They just leave. Your stability with your football program, and that's good, and that's a positive. I just always felt the second that she was named the interim AD that she would be the permanent AD. And maybe they exhausted a few candidates, but my guess is that the pool of athletic directors, really good ones that wanted that job, was real slim. And that she was going to be the AD probably no matter what. And I feel, and it feels disrespectful to her, and it's unfortunate because everyone speaks very highly of her, is that she got it by default just because there wasn't anybody else out there. I wish her success. I think it's going to be so difficult, the job that she has taken on. So good luck to Anne McCoy. I hope she kills it. She's highly respected, though, by some there in that Washington State Athletic Department. All right, we wrap up the Daily Puck Drop, the DBD. And again, that didn't sound right, did it? The DPD. Ryan Divish will join us a little bit later after the Mariners wrap up their series with Tampa Bay, which is going on right now, or it is finished whenever you're watching or listening to this. Hey, what the puck? Final thing here on the Daily Puck Drop. We have a voicemail line. Yes, it is back. Voicemails are back. Go to the website, pucksports.com. You'll see it in the upper right-hand corner. It says voicemails. You click on it, and there's the number. You call that number. You leave a voicemail. We will play the best ones coming up on Friday. So the voicemail line is back. All right. What do we want to call it? Puck mails. But pucksports.com, upper right-hand corner, you'll see it. Click on it. It shows you the number. The number is 425-577-7272. 425-577-7272. Voicemails are back. So spread the word. We would like to be funny. Try to keep them 30 seconds or less. Funnier the better. We want the old voices back. Michael Sean Dugar, Jim Nance, Jamal Adams. Spread the word to all about voicemails being back. We'll try to play the best ones. If we get them, best ones coming up on Friday. A couple of more things. NBA draft is tonight. Could be, and I'm going to stress, could be the final NBA draft before the Sonics return. Probably is a little bit of wishful thinking. Probably a little bit, because most people feel that you'll see them in the 26-27 season. But okay, wishful thinking, perhaps. But this could be the final year, the final draft before the Sonics return. Let's say it is. Let's just say it is. Let's say this next year the Sonics are drafting. So let's just live in that fantasy world, or a hopeful, wishful world for a second, okay? Entertain me. Your number one overall draft pick next year will be this guy named Cooper Flagg. If you're a basketball junkie, you probably know who Cooper Flagg is. Played at a prep school, big, tall kid, 6'10", 6'11". Looks, just highly skilled. He's going to Duke next season, so you'll watch him at Duke. He's considered the top overall prospect. Another kid named Ace Bailey, who's out of Rutgers, considered the number 2 overall prospect. And then an 18-year-old who plays over in Europe at Real Madrid, Hugo Gonzalez. Now, I already looked ahead, and they already have this, the 26 class. And the number 1 player in the 26 class, guy named AJ Dabancia at a Utah prep in California, 6'9" wing. The number 2 overall prospect in the 26 class, which most likely appears to be probably when the Sonics return, Cameron Boozer, the son of Carlos Boozer, the former Duke Blue Devil, and of course a longtime player there in the NBA. A couple of other kids of note. The 12th rated prospect in the 26 class, or the 26 draft, is a young man named by Isaiah Harwell, shooting guard from, of all places, Boise, Idaho. Who knew? Guarantee he has to be, if he gets drafted, well, he will get drafted. Has to be the first player ever drafted from Boise, Idaho. Has to be. Coming up in today's draft, Atlanta's got the top overall pick. 2 Frenchmen expected to go 1 and 2. I think it's Zachariah Risharia and Alex Sarr are the 2 Frenchmen So we'll have most likely back-to-back years, 2 Frenchmen drafted, number 1 overall. Donovan Klingman, the 3rd best overall prospect. He's the big guy out of UConn. I'm intrigued to see what happens with Zach Edey. You know, he's going to get drafted, obviously. He can get drafted in the first round, probably in the first 20 picks, maybe the first 15. You know, what is Zach Edey's future in the NBA? Because this game isn't played anymore with players like Zach Edey. It just isn't. But he's very unique. Moves well. He's this tall guy, but he's not skinny. He's big. Sets great screens, rebounds, all that stuff. But I'm intrigued to see who picks him. And I'm pulling for Zach Edey because I don't want the death of the old school big man to go away. And Zach Edey represents that. ESPN's mock draft has him going 17 to the LA Lakers and new head coach JJ Redick. How about the couple of Cougs? Jalen Wells is considered the 47th best overall prospect according to ESPN, and Isaac Jones, who, by the way, never played AAU basketball, was cut from his 8th grade basketball team. So all you parents out there and everyone that freaks out that little Johnny or Timmy or, Madeline, I don't know why Madeline, aren't, playing on their club team, or they need to play on 3 different club teams. They need private coaches and blah, 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 all this. This guy never played AAU basketball and got cut from his 8th grade team. And this guy is going to get drafted most likely tonight. He is ranked as the 59th overall prospect. If he doesn't get drafted, he will no doubt sign with someone. Where does Bronny James go? That will be intriguing tonight. The LA Lakers have the 55th overall pick, and most people feel the Lakers will take him. And most people feel, because of the relationship that Rich Paul has, the agent for LeBron and Clutch Sports, who represents a bunch of NBA players and does business with a bunch of NBA teams, that out of respect, that no one will select Bronny James before then, and they're going to wait and take him 55. He's not the 55th best prospect in the draft. This is simply just because, and I get it, his dad wants to play with him. That's it. If they do take him. That's what it'll be, because there is no one. I don't care what he did in the combine that watched him play this year and said, this guy's ready for the NBA. He's just not. There's no way. He's not ready for the NBA. So draft tonight could be, again, wishful thinking, the last one before the Sonics return. There was something that was accomplished last night as we continue here on Hey, What the Puck on the Daily Puck Drop in AA Arkansas. A young man by the name of Hogan Windish, Mariners AA prospect.
A grand slam in the 3rd and 2-run homers. Here's a swing and a high, deep drive to center. Antico going back to the wall, turning around, and that ball is gone. Unbelievable. A 4-home run night for Hogan Windish. My goodness. It is his night.
You think? Yeah, you're damn right, it's his night. 4 for 4 with 4 home runs, and he drove in 9 runs. All of the runs for the Travelers. So since RBIs became an official statistic back in 1920, he's one of 2 players to drive in all 9 runs for their team. Second 4-homer game in Arkansas franchise history, joining Tyrone Horn. Efforting to get Hogan on the show. We'll record something with him. But my God, man, 4 for 4. He said he'd never even had a 3-home run game. But 4 for 4 with 4 home runs, and he drove in 9. Lastly, EA College Sports video game is out, and they ranked their toughest places to play. Number 1 was Kyle Field, Texas A&M again. Number 2 was Bryant-Denny Stadium, Alabama. Oregon was the only West Coast team. 11th, Autzen Stadium. Utah, if we just putting an asterisk with them on West Coast, 18th. I think Utah's harder to play than Autzen. So, I actually think Utah should be ahead of Oregon. Boise State was 24th. No Washington. I know that's got a bunch of Husky fans up in arms. I would agree. I think that is a tough place to play. Go ask Oregon. Go ask any team that's come in there in the last couple of years. But not much representation there on the West Coast. I would just flip-flop Oregon and Boise in Utah. I think Utah's much harder to play. I ask Pac-12 opponents, what's the hardest venue to go play in? I think the majority of them would say Utah. Cougs, I don't think registered a vote for the Great Martin Stadium. Their loss. nor did I see the Kibbe Dome in Idaho get a vote. All right, that's it for Hey What the Puck. Your Wednesday edition of the Daily Puck Drop is in the books, episode 181. I don't know. I hope the Yims won. As you listen or watch this, please, for the love of God, don't get swept by the Rays. We will recap it on later today at Puck Sports with Ryan Divish. That episode coming up a little bit later after they conclude that series with the Rays. But we're done. Daily Puck Drop. Enjoy the rest of your day here on a Wednesday. We'll talk to you on Thursday for another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. Until then, we promise to be better.
No shirt, no shoes, no dice.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!